It's Monday and I'm in London's beautiful Holland Park and I'm about to set off for a stunning 1 mile walk with a lady that I know you are going to love. Now, I'm going to be honest, when we started this podcast 3.5 years ago, she's exactly the kind of driven and inspirational person I wanted to meet and share their story. So I'm so excited that we've got it together for you today. This incredible woman is on a mission to defy all odds. She's a bowel cancer survivor, a broadcaster, and a woman who has set out to complete the 6 major marathons of the world with the aim of raising awareness of not only bowel cancer, but also living life with a stoma. Adele Roberts, welcome.
Wow. Aimee,
to
thank
the
you.
Monday Mile podcast.
I can't believe I'm finally here. Thank you so much for
Can
having
you
me on.
believe we're actually walking for once and not on a train to some sort of running event
Absolutely.
in another part of the country?
Yeah, I know. I get to speak to you properly this time and not rush by and spend some quality time with you. And thank you for that intro and just sort of like reminding me how far I've come in those 3 years. Because 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with bowel cancer. So around the time that you would have started your podcast, I think that's when, our lives sort of like split apart a bit. It's not like I knew you personally, but I followed you on Instagram, read your book, you inspired me a lot, started getting in shape, and then my world changed when I got diagnosed.
It's actually savage that we can be here today. And just before in the cafe, we touched on briefly about running. It's a passion we both share.
Yeah.
But how we see it as a gift, because not everybody is able to even get out and have a walk.
Well said.
And you've really experienced the extremes of that.
Yeah, totally. When I was ill with cancer and when I was going through chemotherapy, I tried to stay as active as possible. I tried to run through all my chemotherapy. I found wonderful people online that made sure that they still went to work and still exercised whilst on chemo, just to sort of defy cancer. And I wanted to do that as well. But like you say, it's a gift, it's not a given. And there were some days when I had to shuffle or walk because I wasn't well enough to run. So every time I get to go out and do a run, I appreciate it.
Blessed. Today we are blessed, the sun is shining.
Yes.
Let's jump back to the now. Last night, small little premiere, documentary.
Oh yeah!
Tell me about that. And how's the head today?
Oh my gosh, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, so myself and Richard Whitehead, who you'll know, the Paralympic legend, we've done a show together all about inclusivity in running and inclusivity in sport as well. And as somebody that struggled and never used to feel like I was sporty or that I was good enough to be part of this wonderful community, it's something that I'm really passionate about doing. So it's a 3-part series. It's going to be on Prime Video on the 3rd of December, which just so happens to be the International Day of Disability. I am now, thanks to my stoma, part of the non-visible disability community. And I always say, I think having a stoma has made me a much better person and made me appreciate sport even more, what it can do for you physically and mentally. So Richard and I go around a few sports, see what they're getting right, what they're getting wrong, and then at the end of the series we put on a race and we tried to make it the most inclusive race of all time.
That sounds unreal.
Yeah,
I will
cool.
definitely be watching that.
Thank you.
If not before the 3rd of December, if I can hack some sort of link.
I'll look you up, Amy, don't worry about it.
Because that sounds incredible. To you, what does inclusivity mean?
I think feeling like your differences are noted, that you don't have to explain yourself, but that you're treated equally. So it's accommodating people that maybe have unique needs and just trying to find a way to make sure that they can still do the sport that they want to do. So for example, for me, having a stoma, I've had to re-look at the way that I run, the way that I feel myself for a marathon. And it's just lovely when I go to races and people understand that I might need a lot of toilet stops. Little things like that. It just means that I feel welcome, I feel understood, and I feel like no one will judge me if my stoma bag comes off during the race, which has happened to me a few times.
No way.
Yeah.
What do you do in that situation?
Well, I have like a belt that goes over my stoma bag, and I just have to hope that the belt will hold it in place until I get to finish. But when I ran the Berlin Marathon, my bag came off about 25k in. They do kilometres and not miles, so I don't know how far that was mile-wise.
Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
3, 6, 9, 12, 18 miles.
Oh, okay, yes. Yeah, so
I reckon,
18
wait,
miles
am
in.
I
Is that
wrong?
right?
6, 12, No, 15 miles.
Is it? Oh,
Yeah,
gosh.
close.
Yeah, so I had about 10 miles or so to go, 11 miles, and my bag had come off. So I just had to really hope that my shorts and my stoma belt would keep it in until I got to the end, and it did. But as soon as I finished, I went and found my girlfriend. I was like, have you got those spare knickers? So I always have to take things like spare knickers to runs now as well and change of clothes.
To be fair, Adele, I think everybody before a marathon always needs the toilet.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, at the end, stoma or no stoma, I need a new pair of knickers. Like, let's not beat around the bush here. That is the reality of running when you push your body beyond its limits. So you are not alone. You are not alone, my friend. Talk to me about Audrey, because your stoma has a name.
Yeah.
And she has given you this innate ability to do something impossible.
Yeah, so even though technically my stoma that I've named Audrey is a hidden disability, she's kind of like my superpower. Okay. And in a weird way, I think because I've had a mindset change and an appreciation for life since cancer, I'm now faster running marathons with a stoma than without, which is nuts. Because essentially it's like a hole in my stomach. My small intestines is hanging out. So I've kind of got like an exhaust pipe, if you will. But I'm actually faster, which doesn't make sense.
Does it backfire? It's like gas feeding you forward.
That's the one thing I can't do anymore, you know.
You can't fart?
I can't do that.
No way.
I have no ability to do that at the moment.
So for those people that don't know, that are listening to this podcast, because we have an array of listeners, can you describe the process of what Audrey actually does?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for asking that, because not everybody feels empowered to, and that's one of the reasons why I like to talk about Audrey, because I think we should be more open and normalise stomas. Just after my stomach, you have the small intestine, everybody does. That's where they've sort of like got my small intestine. And so if you imagine that it's like that, they've cut it, but it's still attached like this. So it's almost like someone's cut it and done that with it. Okay. And then that now sticks out the front of my body. So once my food's been processed in the tummy, it goes through a little bit of my small intestine, and then any output goes into my stoma bag. So Audrey is the little stoma, so she's the intestine, and then the bag that goes over her is the bag that collects anything that she exits or outputs from my body.
Okay, so say you eat or drink.
Yeah.
Would food pass through you quicker than, say, me?
Absolutely. Yeah, so and it depends what type of food it is as well. So I'm very good at digesting things like protein. Unfortunately, healthy things like veg and anything with a skin is problematic. So I have to make sure I chew it properly or I break it down properly. And if not, it will end up in the bag. So Audrey's very good at firing peas into my bag, sweet corn.
No Nando's then?
No. If I go to Nando's, I have to take the skin off the chicken and then no sweet corn. Yeah, can't do it anymore.
It's fine, you stick to the chips. Basically, you're eating the diet. Well, can you eat chips?
Oh yeah, so in a weird way, anything really processed, really good for stomas. So when I first got it, they were like pies, ice cream, cakes. Yeah.
That must feel quite counterproductive, because I know you're into your health. You've obviously been through a major health transformation. And I would imagine inputting food like that must sort of be quite tricky, knowing your affiliation with health and also weight management.
Absolutely. So I've had a long journey and a big struggle really in terms of body image. I used to be very overweight, didn't have very good habits. I was all about the pies and the burgers and the late night kebabs.
I love a little late night kebab on the way home. Sheesh to work for one.
I used to have a lot of trouble managing my emotions, and I think I used to eat instead of dealing with life, and that manifested on my body. Didn't really take care of myself. Had to change my habits really, because I was getting really sick and really ill, and it was getting to the point where my knees were starting to give way. I was clinically obese. I had lots of body fat, and I just sort of like thought, I can't live like this anymore. I need to start changing my habits. And that's what I did. I didn't really go on a diet. I just more changed my lifestyle, and I used food for fuel instead of using it to cover my emotions. And so you're right, it was hard to deal with when the doctors were saying eat things like pies, because I was like, I don't want to go back to the old me, I don't want to get sad. And I knew dealing with cancer, I had to stay positive mentally. And I think food has a big effect on the way that you feel mentally as well. If you put junk in your body, you get junk out. So I like to eat natural food now. So I don't like much processed food.
So how do you manage that now, bearing in mind what you've been through? Like, your weight loss journey in its entirety is very extreme.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm a completely different person. If people saw a picture of me 10 years ago, they wouldn't recognise me. Absolutely not.
And that picture I have seen,
Have
you
you seen it?
posted
Yeah.
recently. You're wearing a New York City brand top.
Yeah.
The weight difference between those two photos is astronomical.
Yeah, you're right.
What are we talking weight-wise, the difference?
Yeah, should I say, because I always feel a bit worried about talking about the numbers of weight because I never changed to look different. It was more to feel different. So I'd please anybody that's listening to this, don't think that that's something that I obsess about. I don't care how much I weigh, I care about how I feel. But in the picture on the left, I'm about 13 stone.
Yeah.
Today, I'm about 7.5.
Wow, that's crazy. So it's almost half the human.
Half the human, yeah. You can't really see as well because I used to be very sneaky about how I take pictures. So at my biggest, there's not many pictures of me. And also if I did have a picture, I'd try and look. I don't know, I just didn't save many pictures from that time because I didn't like the way I looked. But that t-shirt that I'm wearing, it used to be something that I could eat what I wanted and expand into. So that's why I used to wear a lot of sports gear. And it was strange that it had the affirmation on the front, Run NYC, because when I used to wear that t-shirt, there's no way I could run. Not a chance. And it's amazing to think that in the future, I eventually did it.
What was it that triggered your ability to change your mindset?
I think in the first instance, my girlfriend Kate, she just never gave up on me. She could see I was struggling. She knows me so well and she knew that I had to make a change. And she always used to talk to me about self-care. And I used to see that as selfish and it's not. And she also used to talk to me about like manifestation and positive thinking. And I used to think, oh, she's a little fairy. She doesn't know what she's talking about. I used to think it was all like woo-woo.
Yeah.
You know, I just didn't believe in it. And she just kept chipping away at me. And then eventually I started reading books like your own and picking up on people's mindsets. I'm fascinated with how the mind works and I learned a lot from you. And people like you rubbed off on me and that's how I started to change.
To hear you say that, for me, blows my mind. I remember a couple of years back, you did a little story. I think you were still on Radio 1 at the time. In fact, I think you did one of my retirement interviews.
Yes, I did. Yeah, thank you.
I remember you posting about the book and the fact that you'd gone out of your way to pick up and read the book blew me away.
But it's because I've been watching you though, Aimee, and I love the way you think about things. It's that Olympic mindset. You're a special person. I just love learning from people like you. So yeah, that's...
Thank you.
Yes, true.
That is so, so lovely. But this isn't about me. This is about you and what you've done. So if you were to give somebody one piece of advice, if they have maybe seen that photo, your weight loss journey, what would it be? What would you say about the woo-woo?
I'd say be patient with yourself. You didn't get like that overnight, so don't expect to sort it out overnight. It does take time. So be patient. More than anything, accept help. I never used to let people help me. And Kate was trying to help me and save me for so many years and I just used to rebuff it. But once I let her in and was vulnerable and started working on myself, I started to change my life around and you will get there.
And to share your journey in the way you have, your cancer journey, to inspire everybody around you takes huge, huge vulnerability.
Thanks, Aimee. Years and years ago, I did a show called Big Brother. That was probably a bit of my downward spiral actually, and just sort of like the way all that happened and the way I was on the TV show. It was when I was a very different person and again, didn't deal with my emotions. And I think after I came off that show, I felt I didn't have any purpose. It took me a long time to sort of like deal with almost having this like weird, if we can call it fame or notoriety or whatever, but I didn't have anything good to do with it. Eventually, by the time cancer came along, I knew that I could do some good. I knew that I was lucky enough to be working at Radio 1 at the time when I got it and I could help other people and that just made me feel good. And so, yeah, I feel like I have purpose now.
It's crazy that something like having bowel cancer has given you this immense outlook on life.
Yeah.
Your positivity radiates. Every time I have crossed paths with you or seen you somewhere, your smile is so, so infectious. Without a doubt, your journey hasn't been easy and you speak about it so positively. We spoke about running, how it's a gift. Chemotherapy for you was not easy.
No.
And often that is something that's often just sort of brushed under the carpet because people celebrate those victories. But take me to some of those darker times that maybe people haven't seen.
Chemotherapy is different with every single person. And with me, it really affected my skin. So it took my fingerprints off.
No way.
Yeah, I couldn't use my fingers. I couldn't use touch screens. I couldn't use my phone, self-checkouts, things like that. It really damaged the bottom of my feet. It looked like they'd been burnt or something like that. It also turned my tongue black. And I think...
What?
Yeah, seriously. Like,
I've never heard
used
of
to have
that.
like black spots on my tongue. Also, Audrey suffered a lot. So instead of being pink like an intestine, she was like dark purple. And it was almost like treacle would come out of it. It was a lot. It was a mess. I just used to visualize the fact that, well, I used to think if the chemo's doing this to me, imagine what it's doing to the cancer. And I made sure that I stayed active all the way through my chemo. And I just used to visualize all of the chemotherapy going through my body and killing any cancer cells. And it was like a way for me to stay strong mentally. Movement and visualization, that's what I did. And I know you visualize because I've read your book.
And you're living proof of the movement today with the most obscene challenge. You are fresh back from your 3rd marathon major, New York City Marathon.
Yes.
How was it?
Oh my gosh. You know, every time you say that, I'm like, I just pinch myself. I'm like, gosh, I did it. I got there. I've done it. You did it before me though.
I did.
You told me it was a tough course.
It is.
You were right.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really tough, but how beautiful and iconic. It's incredible, isn't it?
Did you do the like 5 a.m. bus in the dark?
Yeah.
Even that whole experience of getting on the bus, heading over to Staten Island, the energy of New York for me is different to anything I've ever experienced.
Yeah, it's like being in a movie set, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. Even the, what do they call them? You know, the things on the floor that they have like smoke coming out of them.
Oh yeah, the street.
Grids. You know, like, yeah. It's true, isn't it? It's all sort of like, yeah, like a movie set and those yellow taxis and everything. It's iconic. Yeah, so the 6 marathon challenge, I'm trying to do that just to raise money for cancer charities and also just to sort of give back to those that have helped me. And more than anything, represent Ostomates and show what's possible with our bodies.
It's insane. And you're not just turning up and surviving the marathons. You're running them in some sort of record pace. You're always so complimentary towards everybody else. But just for the runners on this podcast, can you just let us know your time? Bearing in mind you stopped for the toilet a multitude of times. What was your time?
Yeah, so my first one, Berlin, was 3 hours 20, which even surprised me. And I think I stopped, you know, my stoma bag came off. 15.
No.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
And I'd stopped 5 times to go to the toilet in that one. And then I did Chicago 2 weeks later in 3:23.
That is so close, that time frame. Like for recovery, there is no recovery.
No, it was just straight into taper again. And then 3 weeks after that, I did New York, and that was a 3:23 as well. So just made up with my times, yeah.
Are you like, pinch me?
Yeah.
Do you recognise the ridiculousness of what you have already achieved?
Yeah, I do reflect. I always have like things pop up on my phone, you know, with old photos of me. And I'm just so proud of that girl that used to be sad and struggling because she managed to turn her life around. And without her, I wouldn't be here now and I wouldn't be with you. It takes a team, doesn't it? You know, it takes all the people around you. You've helped with it. Kate's helped with it. There's something that I've like learned actually. Maybe this is something that you do too. But you know, they say, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And there's people like, I think, Tony Robbins that talk about be careful who your top 5 friends are.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know about this.
Oh, do you not?
No, tell me.
Oh, okay. So yeah, apparently like your top 5 friends are the people that you're going to kind of like end up like. And so I rationalised that if my top 5 friends are people like you, if I'm reading your book, you're my friend in my head. And I might read Oprah's book, so she's another friend. And then I've got Kate that's helping me at home and she's a friend. And I just find inspirational people to learn from.
She's ahead of us.
And I make sure I always have a good top 5 and then it keeps you moving forward in your life. And that's something that anybody can do at any time. You know, if you just pick up someone's book or their podcast or just sort of follow them on Instagram and just make sure you have 5 good people in your life.
That really is a testament to positive influence.
Yeah.
I like the way that you refer to a book as a friend as well. I've never heard that analogy.
Thank you.
Because often so many people, even those maybe listening to this podcast, can feel alone. And it can be as simple as reading or sharing someone else's story.
Absolutely.
Can change that narrative quite drastically. So we have the 6 Marathon Major Challenge is well underway. Mm-hmm. Hopefully I'll see you at London.
Yes! Are you running it? Well,
One has not confirmed yet. I don't know. Producer Tom, are we running it? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. But you've also done a multitude of other things. It seems as though you're not scared to turn your hand to something new. Dancing on Ice last year.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, I think, like I was saying before, I try and live with purpose now, and I want to spend the rest of my life giving back. I feel lucky to have a second chance at life, and I want to get this half of it right if I'm lucky enough to have another like 40 years or so. Probably won't, but anyway.
Yes, you
I don't
will.
want to get too morbid.
Positivity, manifestation, vision. But that's why every day counts, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so if I can sort of like use my platform to help others and do really cool things to represent underserved communities, people like ostomates, people who have stomas, also to show what's possible post cancer, then I'll do it. And that's why I did Dancing on Ice, just to kind of try and normalise stomas and show what they can do. They can dance on ice as well, not just marathons.
Do you think that narrative around stomas is being normalised?
I hope so. I did a talk recently. There was a girl who got her stoma around the same time as me, and she said it is getting easier. So I'm just grateful to other people like me that are sharing the stories online, like you just said, and just hopefully just normalising it, and it just makes it easier for everybody.
I think as well, it's just people don't actually understand. Like you coming into the cafe there and me initially going, oh, do you want a coffee? I didn't know you can't just casually have a coffee before you're off to walk however many miles.
Yeah. Yeah, because if I'd have had that coffee, we won't be walking right now. I'd be like, where's the toilet, Aimee? So, yeah, be coming straight out.
It's fine. You can do what I used to do snowboarding. We'd go behind the bush. When you're on the top of the mountain and it's like freezing cold and you don't want to stop, so just pull into the sort of slipway.
You're the person who does the yellow snow.
Yes,
then.
it's me. And I have no shame in it. More runs, right? Get it in, get it done. Get to the cafe quicker for the lunch break. So going back to the running briefly, London marks the end of the 6 majors.
Yeah.
However, recently, I know you like a challenge. I saw some news that there's a new addition to the majors.
Yeah.
There's Sydney.
Sydney.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's really exciting. It means that I'm not halfway through if I add in Sydney. So.
I mean, that was an addition. We didn't know about that.
True. But my girlfriend's quite excited about Sydney, but she forgets I have to run it. So she just gets to go and look pretty and look beautiful, and I have to go and run. But I think I've never run down under. Have you?
Yeah, I mean, I've run down under casually, but I've never done a race there.
Yeah. So
Do
I think
you
that'd be
like
pretty cool.
your travel though? Would you go just for? Maybe you could run it with your girlfriend.
Yes.
Maybe that's a way of changing the narrative. She's swiftly saying no over there.
She's doing that.
But I know she loves a manifestation. So maybe me and you can manifest that you run that one, because technically you started this 6 marathon major challenge before this one existed. So it could just be like a bonus travel expedition.
It absolutely could. It could be like, you know, when you get an album, they've got a hidden track.
Yeah.
Yeah, hidden cheeky marathon. Yeah,
bonus episode.
Bonus. Yeah.
With Kate.
Have you seen the medal,
she
actually?
doesn't like me. Doesn't like me now.
Oh, does she not? I'm going to pay for this now, Aimee. Have you seen the medal for Sydney? Is it any good?
I haven't, no.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I've only collected 2, unlike you. You've absolutely boxed them off. We have a question that we'd like to ask all of our guests that come on the Monday Mile podcast, and that is, if I was to give you the keys to freedom, to go on the ultimate Michelin road trip, where would you go?
Oh, that is a great question.
And you can take 3 people with you. So we're 1 short of the 5, but
Okay, all right. So
4 including yourself.
do they have to be alive?
No.
Oh, this is good. And you have to actually be able to get there by car, or is this like fantasy? Can the car
it's a bit
go
of
on the
both.
water?
It can sort of go on a ferry.
Right,
So it
okay.
might be quite a long road trip,
Okay,
but it's the keys to freedom.
right. Yeah, okay, cool. So I think I'll go to Barbados,
Yeah.
which is where my family's from, well, my mum's side of the family's
cool.
from. I'll take my mummy, I'll take her, She's an angel now, but I'm allowed to have people
Yeah.
that have passed. Okay.
Please bring the angel.
Yeah. Okay. So my mum's coming. Kate's coming. How many more spaces have I got?
You've only got one.
Oh, no.
It's tight.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
right,
it's tight.
let me think. Who else? Audrey.
But maybe by this point you won't need Audrey.
True. I can't think of anybody else. I have no friends, Aimee. But do you want to come?
Okay, I'm up for it. Barbados and then on to Australia.
Yeah.
It's a very long road trip.
It's a plan.
We also like to ask all of our guests what their relationship is like with Monday. Do you like Monday?
Yeah, I love Monday.
Yeah.
I mean, even more so, you know, since all of my cancer journey, any day I love it now. Any day I get to be alive is great. But yeah, I don't mind Mondays. I'm one of those people who like to go into school.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was not one of those people. I'd occasionally like try and pretend I was sick so I didn't have to
You
go
looked
because
horrified.
I wanted to go snowboarding instead.
Ah, okay.
Much better plan.
Well, you see, I quite like learning, so I'm a bit geeky like that. So I love school. So Monday, all good.
That's an immense quality to have though. Learning is the key to enjoying life, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Knowledge is
And-
power.
Lastly, Adele, we like to ask all of our guests if they have a life motto or quote that they live by that you can share
Gosh.
with our listeners.
Okay, all right. I've got a few, but one
Okay,
that's
brilliant.
just popped into my head is, it doesn't matter what happens to you in life, it's who you become in the process.
Oh, that is so, so strong. Adele Roberts, thank you so, so much. I've absolutely loved every single step of this. Let's see. Oh, oh,
we done
oh,
there?
oh,
What we
oh. 1.25 mile, a shorter mile. My insides are happy and inspired having just listened to you. You are a true source of inspiration. Monday Mile listeners, to you, Adele, tell us about the doc. When does it drop? How can they watch it?
Oh yeah, please watch. We would love you to get involved and be inspired by it. Dare to Defy, coming to Prime Video on the 3rd of December 2024. Everybody welcome.
You heard it right here. Monday Mile listeners, you know what to do. Tune into that and subscribe. The audio drops every single Monday morning at 12 a.m. for the early risers, so you know what to do. Subscribe, tune in and walk with us. Monday Mile listeners, it is a wrap.